Smart, successful people are quietly packing up their bags and moving to Asia. And no, I'm not talking about digital nomads going on a gap year. I'm talking about doctors, engineers, chief executives, people with actual careers. Gone are the days of people moving to Asia just because it was cheap. There's a fundamental shift happening in the world right now. And the people that have noticed it are positioning themselves to set up well for the next few decades. We're going to break down what's happening and why some smart people have noticed the trend and why Southeast Asia specifically is about to boom. And yes, we'll touch a little bit on the West and why sitting around pretending that nothing is going wrong is probably not the best strategy going forward. Okay, let's start with the uncomfortable truth that's happening at the moment that no one really wants to admit, but the Western Hemisphere is kind of having a moment, and not a good one. I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but have you seen the state of it? It's been a long time since I felt genuinely optimistic about the future. Now look, I can never state this enough. I was so lucky to be born in Southwest Ireland in the 90s. I don't think I could have won the lotto, the birthplace lottery, any more than I did. But things change and the good old days are gone. And that's whether Ireland, Germany, America, Canada, even our pals in Australia and New Zealand. It's just not going in the right direction. Now I try and keep away from the politics because it would drive you insane, but it's an absolute clown circus. No one knows what's going on. The people in charge, I believe, don't know what's going on. And it really has turned into reality TV where all we do is sit around and talk about what's Trump doing today. Also, I think people would be surprised, but Europe especially, maybe America too, now we're a bit arrogant. We still think that we have the best infrastructure and the best quality and we're the cleanest, but we're definitely not. People would get a land if they come over to Asia and see what the truth is really like. Singapore's airport basically has a nature reserve inside it. Plus as well, of course, inflation is rampant all over the world, but it's particularly insane at home. You're just not getting the bang for your buck that you used to. And to be frank, I care more about quality of life. If it allows you a good quality of life, I believe you should pay for it. But the quality of life is declining. Life expectancy in the US is declining. Over a third of the population in Europe and the US are obese. Mental health issues are skyrocketing. Everyone has some issue. And in my lifetime, I haven't seen this much social tension and divide. I don't know, was it the thing a few years ago or the recession in 2008, but something has gone terribly wrong. But yet people still act like Europe and America is the best thing since sliced bread. Well, look, I'm sorry to say, it's not. It's over. It's not over. It's not over. That's too dramatic, but it's slowly sinking. It's like the Titanic when you can see the iceberg in the distance, but there's still a few lifeboats you can get. But here's the thing. Smart people notice patterns, and this pattern is becoming pretty evident. Things that used to work aren't working anymore. And instead of actually coming up with solutions, everyone's just yapping and trying to figure out whose fault it is. When I see a system breaking down, I'm not really trying to get involved and stay and see what happens. I'm going to try and figure something out and look for something better. Now, let's talk about what's actually going on in Asia while everyone at home is giving out about the government. Asia is literally building the future. I'm talking high-speed bullet train networks that make our trains look like a horse and carriage. New age smart cities with digital infrastructure, whatever that means. And the biggest renewable energy projects, they're actually doing it and not just going on about it the whole time. But it's not just the shiny, nice new infrastructure, it's the mindset. Asian governments think long term. They think in decades, especially the Chinese government. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a 500-year plan. Meanwhile, at home in Europe, America, we're just kicking the can down the road, and the politicians, their incentive is only to just make it to the next election. It really looks like they have no plan at all. It's kind of funny but scary when I said it. They have been just kicking the can down the road and just hoping for the best. What kind of strategy is that? What is that? Look at Vietnam. They've gone from an absolutely war-torn country to a powerhouse in 30 years with 6 to 7% annual growth. Cambodia, gone through a brutal regime, totally destroyed, now starting to pick up, growing around 7% per year. Malaysia, totally developed, still growing, nice and stable. Meanwhile, the US is celebrating 2% growth like it's some kind of economic miracle. And that's including inflation. Don't even get me started on Europe. But here's where it gets really interesting. You've got 650 million people in the ASEAN region with the average age of 30. That's a huge educated workforce ready to go. Compare that with the West. Half the people are figuring out where they're going to retire, and the other half can't afford to have any kids. How is that sustainable? Who's going to pay the pensions? The middle class, especially in Southeast Asia, is growing rapidly. Hundreds of millions of people are entering the consumer economy in the next few decades. That's not just good growth, that's a radical change. And they've managed to build these economies without blowing the absolute wad and printing too much money. In fact, the only people that shouldn't be printing any more money are the ones that have totally lost the plot with it. I mean America and Europe. We've totally lost control. And look, I'm not an economist, but that can't be a good thing. That's not sustainable. One day that money printer is going to stop working, and then what? But here's the thing, it's already happening. It's pretty obvious. China's already the second largest economy in the world with a long-term plan. India's about to overtake the UK. Vietnam is growing faster than European countries combined. And let's not forget, Indonesia, a country that most people can't find on the map, is looking like it's going to be in the top 5 biggest economies in the coming decades. And it's not just the days, we'll manufacture our goods in China and Vietnam for cheap and send them over. It's totally changed. Singapore is a ridiculous fintech hub. Hong Kong is a very appealing global financial center. Thailand is becoming the big player in medical tourism. And Malaysia is positioning itself as a tech hub. Meanwhile, what's the West's economic strategy? Print some money and hope for the best, and then try and get Warren Buffett to pay more tax or some shit like that. The US debt is now larger than the economy, and I think people have got it in their heads now that really you can just borrow money indefinitely and nothing will happen. Judgment Day comes and it will be an absolute shit show. But here's the thing that nobody really talks about. The lifestyle upgrade in Asia. I get a lot of DMs and questions saying, but where would you really live if money was no object? You're only in Asia because it's cheaper. The standard of living at home is better. No, it's not. I'm not in Asia because it's cheap, and I don't really believe in just going somewhere because it's cheap. And if all things were equal, and it was the same price here as at home, I would be here. You couldn't pay me to live in Dublin. The food is better here. The weather is better here. Even the clothes, the clothes I could get are better here, and they're made here. Why is there an alarm? And in Asia right now, there's much more of a sense of optimism than at home. People here believe things are getting better because they are getting better. And one thing that we've lost at home is social cohesion. I really like how Asia, the social aspect is kind of for the greater good. There's a lot of respect for other people. People respect elders. Isn't that a revolutionary concept? We've lost that. Everyone hates each other. It doesn't feel that safe. In Asia, it's incredibly safe, as much as people don't want to believe. You can walk around Bangkok at 2 a.m. and feel totally comfortable. I wouldn't walk around Dublin at 2 p.m. Some junkie will try and strangle you. Okay, we just digested some breakfast and a lot of information. But what does that actually mean for you? Asian countries are making it easier for people to move here long term. In particular, skilled professionals, entrepreneurs, business people, which is the same thing. If you have money already, you can park it here like a deposit, get your residency, and then just leave it there. You can get it back if you want. Obviously there's nuances depending on the country. Vietnam recently have done the biggest overhaul of the constitution, or whatever they call it. They're bringing in new visas, golden visas. They're changing the dual citizenship. You can now have Vietnamese and another citizenship. The Asian countries are setting up for the future and trying to get qualified, skilled expats here. So if that's you, you have a big chance. But why now? Why is now the time? Good question. First of all, Asia's in that window, that limbo period from less developed to now very rapidly developing. The visa requirements are still manageable. If you want to, you can get into property very reasonably. The infrastructure is being put in place to support international professionals. But as people cop onto it, that window gets smaller and smaller. Plus as well, I don't claim to fully understand anything about geopolitics, but it's definitely more tense around the world than it has been in my lifetime. So I have no idea what's going to happen, but I'm not as confident that we will go back to the way it was. It seems to be getting more aggressive. It's a little bit more scary. Now I'm optimistic. I hope they all figure it out, but it's a bit more scary than it was before. But there's one thing that people always say to me at home is like, oh, but what about democracy? What about your freedom? The land of the free is not that free at all. And if people gave it a chance, you'd see that Asia is really relaxed. It's a weird paradox. Everyone at home they're complaining about the government, but they're also saying, oh, we love democracy. So what's your lane? I don't care about either, to be honest. I like the values of Asia. I like their hard-working mentality. Family values are very strong and much, much more important here than we place on them at home. There's a kid shouting like, why? Making the video. And look, I'm not trying to convince everyone to pack their bags and run away from the West. It's not all bad over there. But for some people who notice trends, who like to be on the front line of things, I don't know, is that a good thing to say? For someone who wants to be where the opportunities are in the future, this is definitely for you. Don't get me wrong. The Western world had an incredible run, but empires always rise and fall. And we're at the tail end of the Western Empire. And now it's shifting to the East. The question isn't even, is Asia going to dominate the next few decades? It's, are you going to be a part of it? And look, I'm not trying to say I'm smart. I just copy what smart people do. And I notice that this is the move they're making, so who am I to argue with them? I'm going to do it too. In 10 years' time, I don't want to be back at home, sitting down, watching the politics on TV, having the same conversation and looking at everyone living it up in Asia. I want to be here and I want to see how far it can go. I'm very excited, if you can't tell. If you're already serious about making a move, or you're an absolute novice and you want to learn more about Asia in general, I put everything into the Move to Asia blueprint. All the mistakes I made in the past, dating, money, scams, everything is in there. Check it out, see if it's for you. Also, check out the Move to Asia cheat sheet. It's just a quick overview of all the countries in Asia. And yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Like, subscribe, do whatever you need to do. I need all the help I can get here. I'll see you in the next one. Oh, my back. Oh, I'm getting old. Oh, I'm past my peak now. That was good. Nice.